Welcome everybody to yet another exciting call. Um, Today we have yet another exciting, interesting guest. His name is Favour Ori. Just a quick background on Favour. Favour is the visionary behind PayDay. He's a renowned entrepreneur, an innovator, and a leader in the fintech industry. Favour has over 6 years of experience in software development, and he's also established himself as a driving force behind several successful ventures. But I think I'll let him talk about that. But it's again an honor to have Favour today. Hi, Favour.
Hi David. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you as well for taking the time to talk to us. I know we have a lot to talk about today, but maybe we can start with you, introducing yourself, and let us know who you are, how you got into this exciting journey in the fintech space, and also building PayDay.
Awesome. So pretty much I started my career in 2013, right after high school. But I eventually moved to the US in 2016 for college, did computer science, and I worked at a couple of companies and startups. I then moved back to Africa in 2020. I worked for a couple of companies. The first one was Go Limited in Rwanda. It was an agri-tech company, so helps them build their MVPs, helps them launch. And then I founded a company at the time to help remote workers from Africa get jobs abroad. After that one, I went back to corporate. I started working for National Drones Australia, and I worked for Open Teams US. While working for these companies as a software engineer, I saw like a common issue. I had helped them hire from Africa, but we could not pay these people. So every month, we were always struggling to send money to Nigeria or to Kenya or to Ghana. So that's how PayDay started. It was like a side project to basically help them pay our people in Africa. It basically blew up from there. We went from like 10 users to 10,000 users without marketing. And now we're currently at 400, almost 500,000 users in the space of 2 years. That's how we got here.
All right. Maybe you can let us know which company was that you built before PayDay?
So it was called with Java, right? But we later called it Talent Match. So Talent Match is a business that helps talents get matched to jobs abroad. And then we eventually built PayDay, which is like a product of Talent Match. What PayDay does now is focus mostly on payments. Talent Match is more like talent. We're not focused on PayDay pretty much, but that other one was mostly talent matching.
All right, awesome. So now let's talk about PayDay, of which obviously this is one of the most successful startups that we are seeing coming up on the continent. Tell us about PayDay and possibly what do you guys do at PayDay? What problem are you solving?
Okay, so PayDay is a neobank for Africans globally. So what we do is we issue foreign accounts, USD, GBP, Euros, Swiss account. Like it's bank accounts all in one place for you as an African. So if you travel abroad, you live locally, you travel locally as well. It's an account that lets you spend local currencies, global currencies. We also give you Visa and MasterCard so you can use for online shopping. What we're solving is, let's say you live in Lagos, for example, and you work for a foreign employer. It is almost very hard to get payments now. Because if you try using your local bank account to get paid, it takes weeks, sometimes months to get paid, right? Or sometimes it doesn't even work at all. So we're basically solving for speed, enabling you to get paid faster, sometimes the same day, sometimes a couple hours. Convenience, everything happens in one place, from getting your salary to paying your rent to paying for power, paying for bills. It's embedded in one app, right? So we're just pretty much giving you one single tool, one financial app as an African that you need to spend wherever you are in the world. So it's banking plus remittance. So banking to receive money, spend. There's a remittance part of it where it enables you basically send money home, send money abroad, send money across Africa as well.
So I've heard you talk about neobank. Maybe can you quickly let us know what's a neobank? Maybe we are familiar, we've heard of neobanks coming up. Can you define what's a neobank? And maybe you can also dive a bit into the state of neobanks in Africa and some of the challenges facing neobanks on the continent.
Okay, so a neobank is like a traditional bank. The only difference is that it is online. There's no physical branch. That's why it's a neobank. So that word neo is what makes it an online bank. There are a lot of fintechs in Africa who have claimed to be neobanks, or the ones who started before us. But the core of building a neobank is having a bank behind you issuing those accounts. Because we don't, on a bank, we can't issue an account number. We need to go partner with the bank to issue cards, account number, everything, right? So the major challenge around the continent will basically be finding those partners, right? Because as a neobank, you don't have a license sometimes, or you're new. So challenges are many, but like the key ones are finding a license to actually start issuing accounts, or convincing a banking partner to basically help you work with you. And that's just in one jurisdiction. Let's say you live in Nigeria and go to Kenya, you have to go back Equity Bank or EcoBank, please do the same thing. You have to go to Ghana. So imagine traveling across 50 plus countries to go basically beg all the banks to power you. That's where the stress is. You need millions of dollars. You need a lot of money to get licensing, to travel around, to build partnerships. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of stress as well.
All right. So now so again, PayDay, you recently announced you're the official payment processor for Starlink in Africa. Is that true? And also maybe you can dive a bit into how you guys came into such a partnership.
So what we do for SpaceX is we enable Starlink, their internet service, collect payments all over Nigeria. We're like the biggest processor for them. Like no one touches our volumes when it comes to Starlink payments. And we also launched in Rwanda to enable them to do the same thing. So the idea is we plan to help SpaceX expand across Africa. And the way we're doing it is to enable them collect payments, because it's so fragmented how people collect payments across Africa, like different countries, like I said, different ways to collect payments. But we built a way that works across everywhere. So when they launch in Nigeria, we enable them collect payments, go to Ghana, Kenya, we follow them. They give us like a schedule that we basically follow. We know when they're launching in any country, and we go and launch before them or with them. That's how the partnership is structured. The way it started was when they launched in Nigeria, which was the first African country they launched in, we started processing for them. And we did some announcements, basically ads encouraging users in Nigeria to basically buy Starlink rather using our card. And also SpaceX saw like the volumes from our side. Like you can actually tell where payments is coming from. So they saw a lot of volumes from our side. So they sent us an email. They were like, they wanted us to help them collect payments. So that's how it started.
All right, awesome. I think that was some really great news. So congratulations, on that milestone. Now, again, diving a bit into PayDay, PayDay has a virtual dollar card that doesn't have a bank account associated with it. Can you clarify how does that even work?
Yeah. So a bank can issue a card without an account number, but it just needs somewhere to take the money from. So now we go to an American bank and we tell them, hey, we need to issue 100,000 cards to Africans. They'll say, okay, no problem. So they make an account for us as a company, and we give them money, we give them dollars. Now, those cards are sub cards, like tiny cards made from that account, right? And so when you're spending the money, it is leaving an account somewhere, and that account belongs to us. That's the way it works.
All right. I can imagine it's quite a popular product, right? I mean, again, just looking at the numbers that you guys are onboarding. I think you recently said you're onboarding over 100,000 users per month. Is that true?
That's correct. Yeah, we do over 100,000 users now. Every single month, we see over 100,000 new users join the platform.
Do you mind letting us know where most of that traction is coming from?
Right now we're just live, or we were live in Nigeria for the longest time. So majority, I would say over 400,000 users are Nigerians. And then we launched in Rwanda. We've seen some volumes from there. We're doing like a pilot in Canada, UK, and Canada. We've seen volume from there as well. So the larger volume comes from Nigeria. Now we've seen fragments. We've seen people come from different countries trying out the platform.
So I mean, for you to gain 100,000 users per month is quite impressive. What's the secret to onboarding such a huge number of users per month?
I mean, it's a nice product. People like it. That's why. Yeah.
All right. We know that you also raised quite a substantial amount of money, $3 million. Congratulations on that. The press release also said that you're expanding fast into, you mentioned a few countries where you're going into. Maybe you can give us a bit of insight as well into what you intend to do, post raise moving forward.
Yeah, so our priority is pretty much getting licenses, right? We started the process of getting license in the UK, license in Canada, and some partnerships with bank sponsorships in the US. The plan is to basically be in major countries this year. We are launching the UK next week. We're launching in the US and Canada as well. And then we'll keep launching in Africa. So far, we've done Rwanda, we'll do Ghana, Kenya, and co. We'll relaunch in Francophone Africa as well. We've actually been in those countries before. We just shut down the service. We're just going to relaunch. But the plan is to basically expand and target Africans abroad as well, because we feel like that's a very big market that's yet to be captured, right? That's why we raised money.
All right. I mean, how does that timeline look like in terms of expansion and growth for this year? I think you mentioned you want to get into Kenya by Q2. Is that the plan?
I don't think I understand the question.
I mean, in terms of expansion, in terms of growth, you mentioned you're entering some of these markets like Kenya and Mozambique in Q2. Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's the plan. So we have like a list of countries we're looking to get into at specific times of the year. But we are going to be doing it side by side. Like our priority, like the biggest part of it is foreign expansion, UK, US, Canada. We still do Ghana, Kenya, and co, right? But like it's going to be alongside the larger markets, maybe UK, Canada, and then we launch an African country, and then US launch an African country, like that.
Just going back to Rwanda, you were initially in Rwanda, you left, you came back. Do you mind telling us why?
So we are a Rwanda company, so we never really left. We just stopped processing payments there, but the company by itself is and has been there the whole time. Like I said, we launched like 11 countries originally. We shut down 10 and focused on Nigeria, right? So it wasn't just Rwanda alone that we left, and it wasn't just a Rwandan thing. It was like basically us shrinking the service and focusing on a particular country. But Rwanda has been our home the whole time, and it's still our HQ in Africa.
Now, as a fintech operating in Africa, obviously there are specific challenges that fintechs face on the continent. You've highlighted some as a neobank, but do you mind letting us know, as PayDay, as a fintech, what core challenges do you feel fintechs face as PayDay, but also generally that maybe we need to address, or how we can go about addressing it?
Two major problems I've seen so far. Some providers could be very unstable, and the problem is that when a service is down, the customers don't really see the providers, they see you. So they want to drag on Twitter, it's you that will drag. But it's not your problem, it's the bank causing an issue. So we need to basically build very sustainable rails that are going to be having very high up times, right? Not when on Monday you're up, on Tuesday you're down. So we want to be able to fix that part. Second part are the customers. I always tell my customers, it's your fault, actually, because we ask you to give us this account, and you're skipping one, or you don't even have it at all, but you basically claiming that you need, like we can't, it's a bank, right? And we have people you're working with. And these providers tell us to give them specific documents. We need to give it to them to open an account for you. So complaining that we are not giving you an account, you're discriminating, doesn't really help. Because when you go to America to make a bank account, you actually give them everything they ask you for. So we need to, the customers, we need to keep keep niching out to basically find the ones who have exactly what you're looking for, right? And sometimes there are bad actors out there. Like there are people that genuinely need the service and they're happy to pay for the service, but then you see people who don't really need the service, just want to come and exploit, or I don't know, look for something funny to do. And those are the ones that keep making noise everywhere. My this is this, my this is that. So what we're doing so far is targeting those actual customers who actually, and that's what we did when we started PayDay. Like we raised about $2.1 million in 2021, and we're not allowed. We're very quiet. We had first 10,000 users doing millions of dollars in just a very short space. We went to 100K, they were doing millions of dollars as well. But like when we started doing crazy marketing, and because you're out there, everyone is seeing you now. So everyone want to come in, right? So now the downside of being out there is that you have to basically like keep sieving out the bad actors coming to the platform. But it's a very big problem. You see them creating fake Twitter pages. We have up to like maybe 500 Twitter pages now. We have Instagram pages, a lot of them. If you go follow PayDay on Instagram now, just go, it's like programmatic now. If you follow PayDay on Instagram now, in the next 5 seconds, you see like 10 accounts following you and sending you DMs. So that's what we're basically dealing with. Well, yeah, those are the challenges building fintech in Africa.
Do you feel regulation is a challenge?
We are not. If I was like a bank, or I was like a remittance company, or I was a infrastructure company, then I would say yes. For us, we mostly just ride on rails, right? We just go speak to Flutterwave, or we speak to Cellulands. They have already done all the work for us. So For me, no, it is not.
Speaking to fellow, African entrepreneurs, what advice would you give, especially with your years of experience, having built other companies before and now building a successful product that has also raised, what kind of advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are looking to go in that direction? They're looking to raise, they're looking to build a successful fintech in Africa.
Just two. The first one is I never really planned to build companies. I just build stuff out of a personal need, or an extended, I would say, friends. So, and the way I know it's valid is because if I call 5, 10 and they say they have the same issue, then I'll go build an MVP and give it to them. They will tell their friends. And that's how I build virality, right? I build what we actually need. And that's why it basically scales and go out there. Instead of me just thinking that it's a problem, I can't waste my time building something. Then it turns out that it's a small problem. It doesn't even exist at all, or it's just specific to me. So I try to find a bunch of people who have the same issues and try to also ensure that no one else is doing it. If someone else is doing it and they're doing it well. And that's because when I started building PayDay, there were a lot of apps out there, it's Africa, a lot of apps claiming to be neobanks before they're doing PayDay. That's the first one. So pretty much validate your markets before you even start building. And then number two, on the part of fundraising, you need to actually have traction to raise. I keep seeing people complaining how they've tried to raise it, the money is not coming. There's money out there. It depends on how you're raising the money or if you have the traction to raise money. 2 ways to raise. You can basically raise based on traction. Like I have a lot of traction, I want to get to the next level, or I show promise, I've done this before, or my team is solid, bank on us, even if you fail, we'll do it again, stuff like that. There are many ways to raise money, but there's money for sure. Just try to ensure you're talking to the right investors. You're actually approaching raising the best, the right way. Some people cold email investors, I'm doing this, and they will not reply to you. They're very busy. They miss your emails. So maybe speak to people who know them, ask for introductions. There are many strategies in raising, but that's my advice. Build the right product, validate it. And number two, raise the right way through your network, join accelerators like Techstars, Y Combinator, etc.
And obviously, try to get some traction for your product, right?
Very important.
Well, not 100,000 users per month, but at least some traction.
Yeah. Just show that you're growing, basically.
Indeed. So Favour, as we wind up, how can people work with you? How can a company or an individual, work with you or sign up for your services?
So if you're just using the platform to receive money on a personal level, you can just download the app from the store, Apple Play Store. But if you are a business, you want to issue cards, you want to issue bank accounts, you want to do remittance, global remittance, you have an API. If you are a business and you want to change money at scale, all of that, so reach out to us as well. So there are many ways to work with us, depending on your needs.
All right. Any website that they can go to?
It's usepayday.com. So use and then the platform payday.com. Usepayday.com.
All right, great. I will have it down at the bottom of this video. So Favour, so last words, maybe any closing remarks to our listeners and viewers?
I'll just say building a startup generally is hard. It just takes grit. You just have to keep going. Pretty much have a community of people maybe doing the same thing. That way you can share your challenges and you guys can learn from each other, and you just, the bottom line is just keep pushing.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.